The World Tournament grind is always the worst, but here's why you shouldn't skip out on this one. How's it, everybody? Celtic Link here. We're back for another Dokkan battle video. In today's video, we are talking about the upcoming 47th World Martial Arts Tournament on Global Dokkan Battle. It is currently June 27th at the time this video is releasing, which means we have a World Tournament starting in just about 2 days on the 29th. This World Tournament will introduce several new EZAs, and so we're going to spend some time talking about in this video these EZAs, which ones are worth your investment, because it's quite a bit of grind if you want to be able to EZA some of them, if not all of them, right? There's going to be a bit of a grind, but more importantly, we're going to go over how to get all of the stones collected, because there are 50 stones to be collected in this World Tournament, and that's 50 stones right before the global 8-year anniversary, so you don't want to be missing out. That's a whole multi right there. So let's go ahead, let's dive right in. Let's start talking about the stones, because I know that's what you guys are really excited for. So number one, the first place to get stones, we'll start with the extra missions and then work our way backwards towards the placement. So starting with the extra missions, right, you can get your first set of stones by advancing to the semifinals in one round, right? Then when you complete the tournament for the first time, right, you'll get your first stone. Win 2 times in a row. This is daily, right? So for 3 days, right, you get 1, 2, 3, totaling in 9 stones per day for the weekend, right? So that plus that extra missions give you about 10 stones. So you definitely don't want to miss out on that. Moving on to the row that is, right, succession of World Tournament completions, right? This is the thing that's going to pretty much take you all weekend, unless you're grinding super hard, super fast, if you're one of those people, which I don't necessarily recommend you do this close to the anniversary, because at that point you'll be spending stones or stamina that you may need later on, your stamina restoring items. So at 2 World Tournament wins in a row, you'll get another stone, for that's 11 stones. Another 2 at 7 wins in a row, that is brings us up to 13. You get pretty much that's it from here. They've started to move the stones around to other areas, whereas now you'll be picking up copies of the characters that are EZAing. So if you're missing any of these characters, this is a good chance to pick them up, whether or not you decide to EZA them during this tournament or hold them off till later. You know, at a minimum, 20 wins in a row will get you all 3 of the characters who are EZAing from the other banner. The DB Saga ones, unfortunately, don't come from here. So all right, with the succession missions and the extra missions, we are looking at 13 stones. Or, I'm sorry, 14 stones, right? No, 13. I was correct. 13. Now, moving on to the score, right? As you advance through the World Tournament, you'll be racking up your score all the way up to the highest amount for the most rewards, 30 million. Now, most people usually stop at about 23 million, because that's when you get your last set of stones, but hey, those extra Kais here may come in handy, so you may want to go ahead and grab them. Now, for the score, starting in the beginning, for our 14th stone here, just score 10,000 points. At 50,000 points, you'll get the 15th stone. 16 at 1,500,000. 4 million will get us to 18. 21 at 6,700,000, and at 8,600,000 puts us at 24. 27 at 12 million, and 30 at 18 million, and 33 at 23 million, which is the last set of stones you can get for the score. So I know that that's where most people usually stop it at, is this one right here, because going further than that's going to cost you, right? It's a lot of stamina. It's a lot of work, but again, I think it's worth it to at least get all the stones. And plus, if you get up to the 23 million, you get another copy of this Int Piccolo, who is actually really good post EZA. So if you're someone who didn't EZA him last time, you can rack up these notes here that you can exchange for the medals to awaken him. So moving on to the tier, you'll also get stones for getting the tier. So 34th stone coming from reaching the King Chappa tier, that's the first one. Kami tier, get us our 35th stone. 40 stones for reaching the Supreme Kai tier, and then reaching the Beerus tier will get us our 45th stone. So looking really good here. Up next we have our total wins. So you get 1, 2, 3, and then 2 more for 5 for your wins. That is a total of 50 stones, and you only need to get 8 wins in a row to get this. But hey, if you end up going for, well, these don't actually even need to be in the row. So if you're going for these row missions, you'll more than likely end up completing all of these, which will also net you extra copies of the EZA units. So definitely make sure you do that. We're also getting an update right before this hits, and I believe it will, or actually I think the update's already happened on Global. So you can now use your World Tournament tickets to do multis, and because it's guaranteed SSR multis, it's basically a multi where you got nothing but SSRs. So your chances of pulling a specific World Tournament unit you want is going to be greater during this World Tournament. So this is definitely something you should consider. Really go after those tickets, especially if you're someone who wants a specific unit. Like, I'm still looking for copies of like that AGL Piccolo from the DV Saga story, so that'll be one that I'm after, right? And it's, you know, up to you, but you could bank them until there's something you really want. But just know that now you can do multis instead of singles for every single one. So this is definitely very helpful. And for everything else, no more stones, but you can get some Kais if you end up in one of these weird situations where you get 3 repeated digits in your score. But most of what you guys are going to be after, besides those, is just those stones. But aside from the stones, if you're going after your placement here, this is your next chance to get the next copy of the Int Jackie Chun. So I believe if you're just getting 1 per, this will be our 79% copy. And to be completely honest, getting between 101st and 150 on locals is pretty easy. That's like, if you're going after your, you know, 23 wins in a row, you'll more than likely find yourself in here, unless you end up in a locals tier that is pretty competitive. But more than likely, if you're at least doing the 23 wins in a row, you'll end up with your next copy of Jackie Chun as well as a bunch of EZA tickets. Now, like the last time, in order to EZA all of the units, you do have to place in first. They haven't upped the tickets yet. They will up them in the next World Tournament, the one that's coming, that's on JP right now. But as of right now, if you want to end up EZAing all of these units plus the last ones, you'll end up having to get into the first, second, or third rank. So definitely make sure, if that's something you're after, then push yourself there. If you're placing top overall, that's the medals for the LR, but hopefully, and I think you only had to get below 5, or I think it was within the top 2,000 if I remember correctly, in order to EZA him completely. So just keep that in mind, that if you hadn't EZA'd the Piccolo yet, maybe you didn't quite place high enough to get him last tournament. No matter where you place in this tournament, as long as you're not in the bottom, you'll end up with enough medals to EZA the Piccolo within this tournament. And if you go to the next one, you'll be ready for the next. Like, if you end up in under 2,000 for this one, you'll just be ready for the next LR EZA, who I think up next after Piccolo should be Tien, or is it Yamcha? It's one of them. So just be aware that if you're someone who's trying to EZA all these guys, you really do got to push it. And I don't necessarily think that right before the anniversary is the time to do it, especially knowing that the next World Tournament is going to up the ticket amount that you can get. So let's go back and let's talk about these units that are EZA. All right, we'll wrap things up with that. So we already know what to do to get our 50 stones, but let's talk about these EZA units. So we have the Int Piccolo, Demon King Piccolo, his leader skill on EZA, all types, key 3 attack defense 70%. He greatly raises attack and defense for a turn, causes supreme damage and lowers defense. He gets key 2 attack and defense 150% on his passive. He gives all enemies attack and defense minus 30%. Sworn enemies category allies attack 40%, and reduces damage received from enemies that have been hit by this character. Super attack within the same turn plus an additional attack defense 20% with each attack received. So he's kind of like the Int Jackie Chun, but for extreme class, and he's actually really good. He's probably the best of this batch. Only problem is he's from the DB Saga banner, so you may not necessarily pull him, or if you you know, you may only have a few copies of him because he is, like I said, very, very limited. Those DB Saga banners is really hard to pull the units you want. So, he's pretty good. Probably the best of the batch, like I said. Moving on to the next character, the Super Saiyan Goku from the Hyperbolic Time Chamber. He is AGL Tech and Int types, key 3, HP attack and defense 80%. He causes supreme damage on his super attack and raises attack defense for 6 turns. So he's a 6-turn stacker, which can be good. He gets attack and defense 120%. He gives AGL Tech and Int types, key 2, attack defense 30%, has medium chance of performing critical hit, attack 50% when performing a super attack when there's attack type ally on the team. He also gets a medium chance of evading enemy super attack and attack 50% when performing a super attack when there's an AGL ally on the team. So he's a specific type support unit, which makes him okay, again, with him stacking for 6 turns, but I mean, realistically, you're probably not running him over other Super Saiyan Gokus, but if you happen to have him and you're missing those top tier ones, he's probably not a bad option to float on there. You know, since he's supporting other top tier units, right? 30% attack and defense for AGL, right? That's like the AGL Gohan tech types, the Goku and Gohan. So it's a, you know, he can be all right. He's definitely not that bad, especially being able to raise his attack and defense for 6 turns. Now, moving on, we have the STR Teen Gohan. He's Int and STR types, key 3, HP attack and defense 90%, causes supreme damage with a high chance of stunning the enemy. Key 3 attack defense 158% on his passive. He gets an additional attack and defense 50% when facing 2 or more enemies. He has a high chance of launching an additional super attack when facing 3 or more enemies, plus an additional 10% and defense 20% up to 100% with each super attack performed. So this guy at 55%, right? If you hadn't pulled him before, it's going to be kind of rough without those extra additionals put into him, right? Because that one additional is probably not going to be enough to build his defense, right? Looking at his EZA stats, defense is still kind of low. So I could still see uses for him in Super Battle Road, right? If you didn't have certain Teen Gohan type characters, right? He could definitely be a decent 3rd slot floater in that, with his extra supers being launched. I think he's really hurting with that he's not getting defense on super, because, you know, in a situation where you would be able to take advantage of his passive, he's not going to build up quick enough that 20%. That's still 5 attacks he needs in order to get that extra 100% defense, which just isn't enough. So I think he's probably the worst of the batch, but can have some uses in certain Super Battle Road scenarios. Now, the next one we have is the Kaioken Goku. This happens to be the only one that I have. So he is AGL Fizz and Tech types, key 3, HP attack defense or HP and attack, actually, 80%. He's greatly raising his attack infinitely. He is causing supreme damage, and with a medium chance of stunning the enemy. He gives key 2, attack defense 159% on his passive. He changes key SDR key spheres to rainbow key spheres, plus an additional 90% per rainbow key sphere obtained. He has a high chance of guarding all attacks with 3 or more key spheres. So, to be completely honest, this guy's actually not bad. Him and the Demon King Piccolo, I think, are the best of the batch. Greatly raising attack, plus having guard and that additional attack defense on rainbow key spheres make him pretty decent. He'll work on a few good teams. I don't think he's pushing anybody out of any teams, but he'll be all right, you know, on categories like full power, which are pretty limited. You know, he's not that terrible comparatively to like the Gohan or this Goku. He's actually all right, and being an infinite attack stacker would allow him to build up quite nicely given time on certain setups. So he's actually pretty decent. It's kind of been the pattern, right? We noticed that with the last batch of EZAs, there is 1 or 2 that ended up being good. Like we had the LR Piccolo ended up being good, and the Teen Gohan ended up being good, and the Bardock and the Super Saiyan Goku not so much comparatively. And once again, same thing here, and even more so on the next World Tournament, where they're EZAing the Beerus, the Tech Piccolo, the GT Vegeta, and the Goku. Now, I bring these guys up now simply because, you know, you may need to make a choice. You may be a person who decided not to go hard on either one of these world tournaments, but you do end up wanting EZA, and so you may need to make a choice. So I wanted to throw these out here. Don't necessarily EZA all of them right away. Maybe pick and choose the ones that are better. So with this next batch, looking at their EZAs, right, I'm gonna just tell you guys straight up, once again, Piccolo, they're doing a good job with the Piccolos. He's probably the best of the batch. He is a support unit. He guards all attacks as long as everyone's extreme class, so he's a good buff for Piccolo Jr.'s team. He's also getting extra buff per extreme class ally, and he lowers attack and defense of the enemy for 2 turns after attacking. It's a pretty good effect. And then the other halfway decent one is this GT Vegeta, and he's not that terrible. It's just that he's limited to Shadow Dragon Saga, which most of the good GT heroes are all on Shadow Dragon Saga anyways, but he's still okay, right? He's got guard for the start of turn. On that first turn, he's raising attack for 1 turn, but he's also raising his defense by 30% for 6 turns. He gets additional attack 40% as the second or third attacker. He has an additional 80 when performing a super attack, and like I said, he gets his extra crit on Shadow Dragon Saga. So he's not too bad. He's probably the best of the bunch compared to the Super Saiyan Goku, who is all right, but he's more on Space Traveling Warrior, so he kind of wants to be run on Pan's team, which Pan's team is already kind of really hurting for a good Super Saiyan Goku, and I don't think that he's it. And the Beerus again, limited to a category. He does have guard, which makes him okay, but where is it here? Launches additional attack, high chance becomes super attack. But right, it's this part right here that I don't like. He doesn't get his additionals until after receiving 4 attacks, which can be kind of difficult. It's kind of mitigated by the fact that it'll have guard if you're on Exploding Rage, but the problem is if you're running him on Exploding Rage, you've probably got other Beeruses, and I don't necessarily know that you push those Beeruses off for this guy, so just throwing that out there. So there's a lot to consider. I would definitely say that if you had to pick 2 from each, because that's about how much you get with your tickets, go for the Piccolo, the Demon King Piccolo and the Vegeta in the next batch, and on this current batch, go for the Kaioken and the Demon King Piccolo here. That's just my opinion. So anyways, guys, that is the video. That is everything that you need to know about the 50 stones you can collect in this World Tournament, as well as the upcoming EZAs, who you should grind out. Excuse me there. Sorry about that. So, anyways, guys, that is the video. If you guys liked the video, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you have not already. And in the comments down below, let me know which of these EZAs are you most excited for. I'm going to be honest, for me, it's the Demon King Piccolos from both of the upcoming World Tournaments, because I do like running Piccolo Junior's team, and these guys are a buff for that team, so that makes me very, very happy. So anyways, guys, like I said, that is the video. If nothing else, thanks for watching, and aloha.